everybody. Welcome to this exciting episode of Bob the Sign Man. Today we're going to do a little warning sign with Flexi. I'm going to make a warning sign, stop sign, and a directional sign. We'll do them in separate videos, keep them kind of short. A lot of people probably aren't too interested in this, but this just happens to be all part of the sign business. So let's lay out this narrow bridge. Okay, we're going to make a 36-inch, and it's going to have a 36-inch length, not the height. This isn't going to be 36 this way, but it'll be 36 this direction. 8.75-inch border, 6.25-inch offset. The letters are 6-inch Series D. We'll get into all the little other things with this layout shows. But for now, let's just lay out our 36 by 36. Set up my grid lines. I always start with the grid lines zeroed out. 0, where's my other 0? Here we go, 0. And then I just use these tabs to kind of center it like a little bullseye here. And I always use these tools. I always keep them on top, so whenever I open up my Flexi program, there it is. Design Central and the Fill Stroke Editor, which you can find up here by turning them on and off. With Flexi, you can kind of hover over this stuff, and it'll tell you what they are. So let's lay out the grid, the sign blank. Hold down on with your left side of the mouse. Hold on, and we're going to get a rectangle, and then we're going to come up to our Design Central here. We're going to go 36, and we're going to go 36, and we're going to go rounded. You have rounded, and you have regular if you want, but we're going to do rounded. And this is the rounded means the border, the radius border, the corner radius. So these are 6.25 on the 36-inch. And then once we have all that set up, just hit enter, okay? And then we're going to come up and grab our select tool again. Hold down on the control, and you can scroll in. You can make it easier to move around. It's easier to move around that way. Since it's already highlighted, I'm just going to use my arrow keys, and I'm going to center that for now. Okay, so there we are, centered. Okay, now we got our outside. That's our sign blank. That's our 36 by 36-inch sign blank. Click that. You can see it'll give you all the specifics right there. And 2.25-inch radius on the corners. Okay, so let's add our borders in there. Like I said, the borders are going to be 6.25-inch offset. It gives you that right there. See the B. And then the C is the thickness of the border, which is going to be 0.875. I have to slide that in and out. I usually use 2 monitors, but my recording device only picks up 1. So we're going to go ahead and add in the border. Let's select this. And we're going to come up to the effects. And we're going to do the outline. So we want to come inline. This is already set up. I must have made one last time. So this is if you hold down here, it says the width. The width of the border is 0.875. And this is the offset distance, 0.625. And this little tool here, if you wanted to make more than one border inside, you can, make as many borders as you needed. But we necessarily don't need those borders. Let's get rid of those. We're just going to keep the 1. And then when you get your 1 you want to keep, just go ahead and click the apply. So there's your border. Real simple. Okay, now we want to add in the fonts, the narrow bridge. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to highlight the whole thing. Well, let's see here. Highlight the whole thing. Now we want to rotate it. See the little, on the Design Central, the little tab that said rotate? And then we're just going to go ahead and rotate that around. So there we are. As you can see, we're still centered. We have our 0, 0. We're right through the middle, everywhere we want to be, so that's good. I'm going to bring this up a little bit more. So now let's add in narrow bridge. So we have narrow bridge. It's showing us D. See this little things here, D. So D, it is a 6-inch Series D letter. Okay, that's the type of font we want to use. So come up to our font tool, click it, our text tool. We want series D. On Flexi here, we use the T2000. And we want 6-inch, so there we go. So let's do NARROW. And let's do bridge separate. BRIDGE. Bridge. Okay. Sometimes they're easier. We'll go ahead and we'll just. Sometimes they are a little easier on if you don't do the wireframe. Because see, wireframe, you have to get right on it and click it. So where if you're not using the wireframe, you can just click on it anywhere and you've got it. So we know narrow is going to probably, narrow has to be, see how it says G? So from there to there, and then from there to there is G. And so there's the G right there, 15.688, which comes out to 31.376. That's the length, okay? So it says 31.531 right there is the length. So we want to go 31.376. And then the height is 6 inches. So this is like 6 1/4, but we're going to change it to 6. And you'll see it change a little bit. And we're going to do the same thing to bridge. We're going to come in here, bridge. So bridge right here is going to be H and H. See there, H to H to H to the edge, the E to the B, is going to be 13.063. So we want to double that, and that'll give us 26.126, okay? So it's going to be, it's selected. So if it wasn't selected, select it now. And we're going to go to 26.126. And the height of it is going to be 6 inches. 6 inches. Okay, so now we have our font right down to the size we want it. So now we know we're going to center both of those. So let's just center narrow. And then we'll center bridge. So those are centered on the vertical. Now we have to get the horizontal in there. So narrow is going to be, here's our center line, and it's showing E, and it's showing 3/4 of an inch above center is where narrow should be, the bottom of narrow. Okay, so these grids are, we want to get 3/4 of an inch. So that would be, I just expanded them out so they're easier to read. So there's 3/4 of an inch right there. Okay, and now we're just going to bring that back smaller. Okay, what we want to do, now that we got it set for 3/4 of an inch, we're going to bring our narrow down. We're going to snap it down there. We're going to click that, see how it turned that little blue line, you can see the box on it. And then we're going to highlight that. And then we want to snap that. You can let go of your shift key. So we want to snap that right to the bottom. See how it went right to the bottom? So now there's our narrow, and it's centered right in the middle. Maybe tab over this touch there. So now our narrow is right where it's supposed to be. So now we want to get the bridge in where it's supposed to be. And from the center line to the top of the, you can see the center line right here. From there to there is F, and F shows 3 inches. So our bridge, here's our center here. We'll get rid of this one here. So our bridge is going to be 3 inches down from there. So there's 1, 2, let's see, let me snap these grid lines up better so I can. So we want 3 inches from the center, which is going to be right there. So you have 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. And we'll bring that to size where I can see it better. So now we're going to take this, see how I highlighted that? Hold down on your shift key, take your bridge, and we want to snap it to the top with this one here. You can let go of your shift now. See how it snapped it right to the top? So there's our narrow bridge laid out. Everything in here is going to meet specs. The narrow is the size that it's showing. Oops, I disappeared. Anyways, it was 31.376, 6 inches high. Same thing with the bridge here. It was 21 or 26.126, 6 inches high. So everything that we have on this sign meets specs on this sign. Like I said, the different sizes right here, you can see 18, 30, 36, 48. Just follow along with the specifications and you should have no problem. So there's a little tip on the narrow bridge sign. And then what you're going to have to do, you can't send this off to the cutter like this. Let's get rid of these lines. These things, after a while, kind of get a little cluttered and confusing. You can't send this off to the cutter like this, because if you do, suppose we're going to use 36-inch. It's just not going to work like this. So what you're going to have to do is what I like to do is just make a copy. Let's do copy and let's do a paste. Okay. For some reason, whenever you copy and paste, it does that disappear thing from you, but it's there. So what I do is I toggle in and I'll just put a wireframe on it. So now just select that, which with Flexi is nice. You don't have to select the whole thing. You just select, you know what I mean by this, the whole thing. You don't have to grab the whole thing like some other programs. You just grab what you want to select, and that's what we're going to select. Go back to our directional arrow key, and we'll turn that to flat or horizontal, I guess you call it. And you still, if you still want to send this off to the cutter like this, what's going to happen is you're going to have, see how you have the 3 lines there? You're cutting out the outside sign blank, which you don't want to do. So what you want to do is we're going to separate those. We're going to select all this again, okay? And then we're going to, oops, let's select those, come up, and we're going to separate the outlines. So now, hold down on your shift key, we're going to select those, and we're going to select the narrow and the bridge. And we are going to group those together. When I get to this stage, I usually like to take the wireframe off and just go the solid, because when you're trying to select those letters, like I said, you have to be right on it. But anyway, so there's our narrow bridge. So now all you have to do is come in and click anywhere on the black, send it off to the cutter, and there's your narrow bridge. It's going to cut only the black lines. The red lines that it's showing here, it'll still cut those, but they're going to be your outside border. And you will need to add in your cut lines. So go ahead and just add in your cut lines wherever you want them. You know, just right click, left click your mouse. And you can add your cut lines in. When you're done, you send it off to the printer. When you're done, you're done. But before you do all that and send it off to the cutter, sometimes my Flexi will lock up on me. Save your work. Alrighty, there's a little tip on a narrow bridge sign. Like I said, you're called upon to make a narrow bridge sign. Don't panic. You know who you can always turn to? That's right, turn to the sign man. As always, thanks for watching.